This is Yujin. I'm a management consultant based in Boston. Today, I would like to share a calendar system that I use to reduce stress, save time, and still build wealth. We'll dive into how each of these days will play a role in helping you build your wealth and conclude with how to integrate this all into your Google Calendar. On the third day of each month, I review my expenses from the previous month. So why the third and not the first? Because any charges that I had on the 28th, 30th, or 31st ends up taking a few days for the banks to finally process. This is when I do my money matters exercise. So let me walk you through how it's done. Your input is going to be all your variable expenses. So we're not going to talk about mortgage, car payments, or rent for this matter. We're focusing on expenses that we can change. Those include your credit card transactions, Venmo transactions, if you use one or Zelle, and cash transactions too. So I go into all my accounts, scrap all the data, whatever I can, and put them into these columns. First, we start with the dates. Second is a quick description. These are automatically generated, or if it's from Venmo, I just take a quick peek at what it was on my notes and copy it over. The third column is category. If your bank does a good job categorizing your expenses into travel, food, then there's not much work you need to do. Next to that, we have the amounts. And then finally, I like to add a separate notes column on what these charges were. Now, this is what our output is going to look like. Based on your inputs, we're going to create a pivot table. I like to think of a pivot table as a table that slices and dices your information into many different ways. So let's call it a table within a table. And these are the shortcuts for both Microsoft Excel and Google Sheets. Alt-NVT, Enter, and Alt-Shift-X. By using a pivot table, I would go and drag each amount and understand how much I spent for food, travel, etc. Just like our phones, I like to think of money as a tool. It's more to make sure that money is doing the work for you. We can't just be tied down to money tracking each dollar by dollar, but we're also not spending on things that are impulsive purchases. I think the important part here is not being too hard on yourself. We're trying to earn more to live our life, right? So what I'm trying to do is figure out a general picture. For instance, in January, I had high spendings in travel. Is there a way for me to cut this down? Then be more mindful and cautious the following month in February. And here we go. This exercise also helps me figure out if there were any charges or subscriptions that I forgot to cancel. Actionable takeaways from here. Unsubscribe from newsletters that you feel like are no longer serving you. Hide notifications on retail apps because those reminders actually prompt you to buy more. You don't need another sunscreen, do you? On the 8th, I review macro trends. Basically, what's going around in this world? This isn't directly related to investing or budgeting, but I find it to be an important exercise. So I set aside an hour or so to learn major numbers and key trends, anything from inflation, CPI, next Fed meeting with rates announcement. Even though I majored in economics, I feel like studying econ or any of these trends on your own is really tough. It's not the most exciting thing, right? So what I do is I found a group of professionals in my local area who meet on a regular basis to discuss trends for about an hour. So this way I come more prepared. I'm not always the one leading the discussion, but I use this chance to learn about different sectors in biotech, in education, or even real estate. Wait, how do I find this local group of professionals? Well, we do have the age of internet with YouTube, Reddit, but a word of caution here. There is a lot of advice out there, but not all of them will necessarily be applicable to you. And the best way to discern whether a financial advice is good or bad is by educating yourself first. Is this advice right for me? Is what Yujin is saying applicable for me too? Trust your guts and move forward with that judgment. I have mixed feelings about signing up for another newsletter because I'm a huge fan of an inbox zero. I just want to make sure there's no clutter in my life. But if you do find something insightful on macro trends, please let me know. So here are some materials that I find to be super helpful. I like to read institutional publications. This is something that I was kind of introduced to more in business school because before I was very happy with, okay, I'm reading the news, Wall Street Journal, The Economist, or any other sector newsletters. I felt like that was good enough. Here's one from Oaktree, and of course, Warren Buffett. And I've also included some other ones too if you're interested. What I like about reading these is that they're not trying to sell me anything. These letters are basically updates to the investors on the performance of the funds, the strategy, and general macroeconomic trends, as well as memos outlining the manager's insights. And they have so much experience with investing. Once a month or quarterly felt just about right to understand what's happening around the world. If you're interested, you can also find different fund letters here too. It's the 15th, middle of the month, so let's move over from discussing and educating yourself to seeking help from others. I feel like money is such a tricky topic to talk about with your family or friends because everyone's situation is different and you also don't want to be rubbing off someone the wrong way. So it took me a while to open up talking about money. First up, let's not hesitate to lean on our network. This could mean having a chat with a financial savvy friend or even a family member who's more in tune with personal finance. Hey, but why stop there? Directly engaging with the professionals can add more insights. Consider calling your bank, or better yet, walk into a local bank branch. These face-to-face conversations can lead to advice that is specific to you and that you probably won't get anywhere else. There are also online financial advisors who offer free consultations for the first 30 minutes or an hour. And here's a pro tip. Engage with multiple financial professionals. There are 3 key benefits of doing that. The first obvious one is that you get a wide variety of perspective. Second, this helps you understand what exactly you are solving for. And as you practice your questions and lay out what's important to you, you get to truly understand where you are in your financial journey. Last but not least, I believe that asking for help the right way is a great skill that will take you very far in life. So you should get in the habit of explaining what you need. Remember that every question asked is a step closer to financial clarity and empowerment. And now the 28th. Actually, today is the 28th for me, and this is the day I get paid. All my credit cards, recurring payments, and subscriptions are all due at the end of the month. I took the initiative to call my banks and service providers to align all my due dates. It sounds simple, right? But this strategic move has massive benefits. First, it's easier to plan. Knowing that both my income and expense align on the very same date helps me visualize my cash flow very clearly. This is one of the easiest ways to ensure that you live within your means because you can just see the cash flow. Let's always stay positive on the 28th, pun intended. And psychologically, there's something quite incredible and almost freeing to pay off all my debt in one single day. It takes away all the worries of trying to pay this on that date and this on another date. So instead of being scattered, you are focused on the 28th, getting rid of all your expenses. This almost feels like taking a big financial breath of mint. Here are a few constraints that I am working with. Because of my job, I am not allowed to invest in individual stocks. I am not a permanent resident, and this has some implications in how I approach my retirement fund strategy. By the time I'm 65, who knows where I will be in the world, or if I'm alive, because I've yet to find an app, a system or platform that integrates both the Korean and the United States financial institutions. I ended up relying on my old good friend, Microsoft Excel. All right, let's now put it all together. It's quite straightforward to start a Google Calendar dedicated to managing your money. Click on Settings, and on the left, scroll all the way down to Add Calendar. Choose the option Create New Calendar. And let's give it a name that inspires you. It could be something that you're striving towards, your goal, or I guess even a number. And don't forget to change the color once you finish. The beauty of having a separate Google Calendar for your finances is having clarity. You don't need to be shifting to different calendar invites or to-dos. It's all in one place, centralized. Color-coded, impossible to miss. From now on, you will never miss a deadline. You can do this by creating a calendar reminder, and I like to start mine off with DUE for due. Taxes are due? Add it in. The end of a 7-day free trial period? Make sure to add that in too. Sometimes we end up paying for free trial periods because we forget that the due date was yesterday. To avoid that from happening, create a calendar reminder and call it due, and then name it whatever subscription you signed up for. This visual cue of DUE is powerful. This is a reminder to act. You can even add a customized notification too. I like to keep mine simple. Remind me the day before. Was this exercise helpful for you? Please let me know in the comments below. And come back to my next video topic on...
Let's go! It's time to be the GOAT. It's time to enter God mode. Man, let's get it going. I wanna be the greatest energy. energy is overflowing. I know I'm stoking the fire, my desire's taking over.